The red dragon is the quintessential monster at the end of the dungeon. It is the benchmark for how strong your party is. Defeating a red dragon is the truest test of how well your party works together, and the rewards for killing it are fame and fortune. Hello, I'm Jonathan Pruitt, and this is Jim Davis, and today on WebDM we're going to take flight with the red dragon. So let's burn it down. The D&D Red Dragon's origins come from European mythology, and for many players is the epitome of the evil monster.
Red dragons play on two of mankind's greatest fears, fire and snakes. There's something terrifying and wrong about a red dragon. They are as big as a house, they are fast, and they hit hard. They are miserly arsonists that delight in the destruction of others, and in some versions of D&D can be master accountants, shrewd financiers, and powerful telepaths. And because of all that, they can be amazing to control as a DM. But if you're not careful, a capable party can make quick work of a red dragon, and all that potential for a challenging encounter will go up in smoke.
So Jim, in 5th edition, a lot of monsters have gone through some changes. How did the red dragon fare?
They lost a lot of their traditional protections that they had, but they also gained a lot in terms of the number of actions that they can take. DMs used to dragons that have a lot of spell protection, damage resistance, innate spell casting. Not really going to find that anymore. There's a variant for spellcasting that dragons get, but there's not any more of the they can all cast this kind of thing, and they all also cast spells as a wizard or sorcerer. So a lot of the versatility of dragons has been taken away, and a lot of their protections. But what they gain in that are lair actions and legendary actions. And the fact that their breath weapon hits really hard now.
Yes.
It used to be maybe the breath weapon was, it was enough to strip away some of the protections that the players might bring to the table or cause some minor annoyance. But now it can actually do a lot of harm to the party. What the dragons lost and what they're getting more than balances out. Most dragons now can take actions outside of their turn. Mm-hmm. It allows them to manage large groups of party members better. And so it's less likely that they're going to get ganged up on and die in the second round of combat because of the action economy.
That's an important part of it.
Yeah.
Now, that's for once initiative is rolled. What makes it fun to roleplay a dragon?
Oh man, so you get a monster that's designed to be arrogant, sort of self-important. They live a long time. They tend to have a lot of schemes and plots going on. So, one of the things that I would encourage DMs to do in their campaigns is to make the dragon the focal point of an entire campaign. What kind of minions do they have working out in the world, taking control? It's not just a tribe of kobolds that worships them as a god. Maybe they've got, humans, elves, dwarves, halflings doing their bidding for them. Maybe you take a different twist on the matter and they're using their horde as kind of a bank or a financial leverage against the kingdom kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of interesting things you can do with a dragon's horde because it's so much money, and if you kind of work through the logical conclusions of what would it be like to interject that much coinage into a local economy, you really mess things up. There's a lot of fun things you can do with that.
And what if you have, I'm sorry, but the thought of a loan shark red dragon, I don't want to miss that payment.
Right.
Maybe he has people that owe him money do things. Like, oh, you can't pay me that 10,000 gold back. There's a guy over here.
Yeah. You can go
he owed me 20,000.
Yeah, you can go fetch me that magic item.
Yeah.
This is the value of exploring the older editions of the game, and particularly, if you can get your hands on a used monster manual or even just some articles somewhere. You can find those ecology sections in the monster manual. It talks about red dragons know how many copper pieces there are in their lair. So how do you extrapolate from that? They can also use suggestion and minor telepathy and mind control abilities. Those all make for a much more interesting encounter and sort of build up the monster as a threat outside of combat so that when they get down to it and have to fight this thing, it's been built up over a long series of sessions and it's more than just a big reptile that they go and fight.
After the initiative roll, what's your favorite tactic as a DM controlling a red dragon? You got a party, let's say you're not in your lair.
Right.
You got a party there, 5-6 people. What's your favorite tactic?
So I think probably my favorite tactic is going to be just staying out of range of all their spells and swooping in for a breath weapon. Failing that, snatching and grabbing one party member and carrying them off somewhere to be fought with individually. You got to figure that a dragon, they're a centerpiece of a campaign. and you want that encounter to be memorable.
Right.
So you should have a lot of tricks up their sleeve. Chances are the dragon's not going to fight to the death. They're probably going to bolt out as soon as they get, say, below half hit points or 2/3 hit points or something. It should be only as a last resort that a dragon lands on the ground and engages the entire party at once. So maybe young dragons do that because they're rash and stupid.
Yeah, impertinent.
Maybe dragons that have a particular beef with the party. Maybe they let their emotions get in the way of their tactical sense. There's also a lot of things that the party can do to defeat a red dragon, actions that they can take. Why don't you tell us about some of those?
Well, if you can close ranks, obviously you need to be able to hit it. So that's the hardest thing. Whether you can somehow get it on the ground and trap it with nets, if you have a bunch of NPCs with you, maybe you can do that. Probably not. Dragons are pretty strong, and what's to stop them from just breathing on everybody and burning them out?
Right.
So if you can fly, that's a bonus. If you have anybody who has an ability to call the dragon out, so it has to attack them, you can maybe trap it down on the ground doing that. One of the big things is waiting for your moment. Don't blow your spell on a maybe shot, because you want to make sure you hit with that, because that dragon wants you to waste your big attacks and your big spells. And also you want to try, whereas maybe with other animals or beasts, whatever, you don't want to attack them in their lair. Your best bet with a dragon is probably to attack it in its lair.
Right.
Because like you said, they're not going to fight to the death, but they will for their gold and their items.
Right.
So if you're already in the lair, chances are there's not going to be a big place for them to fly around and take advantage of their mobility. Maybe there's caves, so you can start stone shaping and trap the dragon in there. We had a dragon fight one time where somebody earth bound it and then stuck a earth spike into it, and just locked him down on the ground so he couldn't fly away. So that was other additions, but there are spells similar to that where you can maybe get him and keep him on the ground in his lair. And you just got to do damage and try to, if we're talking straight red dragon here, obviously you want to try to go in with some kind of fire resistance.
Right. Because
like you said, a lot of their spell casting abilities got taken away. So you have to worry less about him casting Dispel Magic or anything like that, unless your DM wants to do the spell casting variant. Having that fire protection is a big deal. We had one encounter with a red dragon in the Rise of Tiamat game.
Yeah.
And it was a fun fight. All buildings were burned down.
Yeah.
Our barbarian dropped.
Yeah.
But a bunch of 7th level characters took out a young adult.
Yeah. With its minions there. Yeah.
With its minions there, it was good teamwork. We had the paladin. What's that ability that allows you to make him attack you?
Well, there's the paladin has the compelled duel.
Compelled
which
duel.
Makes
That's it.
Favor attacking.
Yeah. So but he's young and impertinent, and you do enough damage to him, and he's going to be angry, and that's the way it played out. And we trapped him in a barn. He thought he was going to take the paladin out, but we turned the tables on him, and he's all in one spot. Then you wait for your moment.
There you go.
And we dropped him.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun. Our first dragon in 5th edition, really.
That's really cool.
But yeah, it was good times.
So what about that legendary resistance, automatically passing 3 saving throws? That makes it getting through, that sort of replaces its spell resistance.
Exactly what it does. It just auto passes. So, in a metagame sense, throw a couple of spells at it that aren't really anything. It's just a saving throw that maybe he'll want to pass.
Right.
But again, that's where you start kind of blurring the line between player knowledge and PC knowledge.
Right.
From now on, knowing that dragons have that ability, is that going to be in the back of my mind? Probably.
Probably.
So I'm not going to unload my big spell that I think can damage him if he doesn't pass his save.
Yeah.
I'm going to wait for the 3rd or 4th spell that gets cast at him, because he can just auto-save, and, you got to whittle that down.
Now you're having to coordinate amongst the spellcasters in the group, who's going to try to hit him with things to get rid of the legendary saves so that you can get him with the big stuff.
Exactly.
It kind of adds a different rhythm to the combat apart from hit points.
Exactly.
Where you're trying to hit it with enough thing. Can I force this dragon to use its legendary resistance? Maybe you try, all right, I'm going to throw a fairy fire at him. He might use the legendary resistance to get that. If not, we'll get advantage against him. And then you work your way up, I guess, to the bigger stuff.
Exactly. I can't remember a single time that you get done with the combat, you take out most of them, but of course you want to question one or two.
Yeah.
And it's all, if you have a DM worth of salt, that loves to kind of play it up, it's usually a pretty comical encounter, like interrogating the last goblin, sitting there surrounded by this party of adventurers whose blood stained in their comrades, leftovers or whatever, and they're asking you, where's the big bad guy?
Right.
Who has, obviously threatened to kill you already.
Right.
Your master.
Obviously, yeah.
So, what do I do?
Who are you more afraid of?
There's
Voices.
Yes.
I love the post-combat interrogation.
Mm-hmm. Thanks again for watching WebDM. We're going to have new ones every Wednesday. Tell your friends. Come back next week.